From a disturbing theory about where the Minions actually came from to the exact background moment that reveals the origin of Gru's iconic freeze ray, today we're breaking down 10 hidden secrets across the franchise. But first, if you love the Minions, drop a banana in the comments. And if you're a Despicable Me fan, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Number 1. Were the Minions never actually created, just broken apart? Here's a genuinely unsettling theory worth sitting with. Minions have served some of history's most dangerous, most feared figures across centuries, and every single one of those masters has eventually died, whether through war, disease, or their own downfall. Yet the Minions themselves always survive completely unharmed, no matter the era or the danger involved. That raises a real question worth asking: where did they actually come from in the first place, and why do they never seem to age or die the way everything else around them does? In the earliest film, Minions are shown starting out as tiny yellow blobs with simple eyes, drifting through primordial ooze with no clear origin explained. Compare that early design to a massive ancient creature summoned later in the franchise, a giant yellow body covered entirely in dozens of eyes, and the visual similarity becomes genuinely hard to ignore once you notice it. What if that creature was the true original being, shattered long ago into hundreds of individual pieces during some ancient, unexplained event, with each fragment eventually becoming a single minion on its own? It would even explain why some minions have only one eye while others have two, remnants of a single shattered whole scattered across time rather than individually designed characters from the start. Number 2. The classic Minion trio secretly appears in Minions and Monsters. Did you know the original Minion trio, along with Gru himself, secretly appears in this newer film after all, despite the marketing suggesting otherwise? Many fans were genuinely surprised when the story shifted focus entirely to a brand new group of minions. And since the setting takes place decades before Gru was even born, it seemed completely impossible for him to appear anywhere in the film at all. But the filmmakers found a clever workaround anyway. During the mid-credits scenes, the classic trio returns for several genuinely chaotic moments, involving a magical spellbook they clearly shouldn't be trusted with, accidentally creating a small monster they eventually calm down with nothing more than hugs and patience. Later, they use that same book to transform Gru into several different animals, one after another, cats, sheep, and pigs among them, before inevitably getting caught in the act and facing his reaction. It's a genuinely fun way of proving the franchise hasn't forgotten its original beloved cast, even while dedicating an entire film to a completely new story and cast of characters. Number 3. The hidden origin of Gru's iconic freeze ray. Have you ever actually wondered where Gru's signature freeze ray came from in the first place? In an earlier film, Gru is shown casually using it to freeze an entire shop full of customers without any real explanation ever given for how or when he acquired such an advanced weapon. The answer, it turns out, is hiding quietly in the background of a completely different film in the franchise. During a large villain convention scene packed with background detail, a young Gru can be spotted standing alongside his mother, quietly purchasing that exact same weapon from Dr. Nefario's own booth years before the events of the main series. It's a small, genuinely easy-to-miss background detail buried among dozens of other jokes happening on screen at the same time, yet it quietly reveals the true origin story of one of the franchise's most iconic and frequently used gadgets long before it ever becomes relevant to the plot. Number 4. 5 things you missed in Despicable Me 3 Part 1. Did you catch these smaller details scattered throughout the film? When the Minions engineer their elaborate prison escape, the makeshift aircraft they build together shares the exact same design as a toy Gru gives away earlier in the movie, a subtle callback tying two unrelated scenes together visually. While wandering the streets during one sequence, a background poster advertises a completely different Illumination film entirely, a subtle cross-promotional nod tucked into the scenery rather than the plot itself. And while collecting valuables from fellow inmates during their brief stay in prison, one of the items the Minions stash away for safekeeping is a teddy bear closely resembling a beloved British sitcom character's own signature toy. Number 5. 5 things you missed in Despicable Me 3 Part 2. A couple more details worth catching on a closer rewatch. Margot is shown at one point wearing a shirt featuring a certain green Grinch-like character, quietly foreshadowing an entirely different Illumination film that would go on to release just a short while afterward. And in the Minions' shared underground sleeping quarters, one specific pod can be spotted containing two minions crammed in together, one looking visibly startled by the arrangement, while the other appears to be having an unexpectedly great time regardless. Number 6. The hidden connection between 3 different Illumination films. Did you know Despicable Me, Sing, and The Secret Life of Pets are all quietly connected through small background details most viewers never notice? In one of those films, a background poster promotes one of the other 2 movies entirely, hiding in plain sight during an otherwise unrelated scene. In Despicable Me 3, several key scenes scenes take place near a very familiar-looking theater, the exact same one where major singing auditions happen in a completely different Illumination film. And in the strangest crossover of the three, a very familiar character can be spotted casually walking through a public park in yet another one of these films, quietly tying all three separate stories into the same shared cinematic universe without ever drawing direct attention to it. Number 7. 5 Things You Missed in Despicable Me 2, Part 1. Did you catch these smaller details throughout the sequel? When a plush toy shop owner accidentally overstuffs a bear until it comically bursts apart, the child left crying over the incident is the exact same boy Gru once made cry over a popped balloon back in the very first film, a small but deliberate full-circle callback. A villain's necklace is cleverly designed so that when flipped over to reveal his secret alter ego, the single letter engraved on it visually rearranges to spell out his entirely new supervillain identity instead. And when Gru is shown a video demonstration involving a rabbit undergoing a mutation serum test, the on-screen scientist name tags visible in the footage quietly reference the film's own real-life directors by name. Number 8. 5 Things You Missed in Despicable Me 2, Part 2. A couple more details worth catching before moving on. Bob is shown briefly in the credits sequence with subtly mismatched eye colors, one brown and one distinctly green, a small physical detail most fans genuinely never noticed until rewatching much later. And when Gru visits his massive underground Minion workshop later in the film, several Minions can be spotted casually eating lunch together while sitting on top of an exposed steel construction beam high above the ground, a direct visual reference to one of the most iconic photographs ever taken during the construction of a famous New York skyscraper decades ago. Number 9. Surprising details in Despicable Me 4 even superfans might miss. On a bus heading toward anti-villain headquarters, one Minion can be spotted comically pressing himself against the window glass to show off for passing drivers on the road, classic chaotic Minion behavior playing out entirely in the background of an otherwise normal scene. A major villain's elaborate outfit throughout the film features subtle cockroach-shaped design patterns with gold outlines woven throughout, a quiet nod to his unsettling personal obsession with the insects crawling through the city's sewer systems. And a reunion banner shown prominently during an alumni event later in the film reveals a specific graduation year that doesn't quite line up mathematically with Gru's established age from earlier films in the franchise. A small but genuinely noticeable timeline inconsistency several attentive fans have since pointed out online. Number 10. 4 Easter eggs hidden in Minions. Before the film has even properly begun, the Minions can already be heard humming the studio's traditional opening jingle themselves, playfully implying they've fully taken over the entire studio before the actual story even gets underway. During their time serving prehistoric humans much earlier in their long history, the Minions suggest using a clearly terrible weapon choice against an approaching wild beast, giving their questionable invention an oddly specific, memorable nickname in the process. Later, while visiting ancient Egypt during their travels, they accidentally crash a ceremonial bottle off the side of a pyramid under construction, a direct nod to the real-world tradition of christening a brand new ship before its very first voyage out to sea. And when volunteers are eventually needed for a dangerous mission later in the film, Bob is shown as the only Minion brave enough to step forward without hesitation, with a closer look at his face revealing his mismatched eye colors even at this much earlier point in the overall timeline. And that's it. Which one of these hit you the hardest? A theory or a tiny detail? Let me know in the comments. If you want part 2, hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed, because we're uncovering even more secrets next time.